The first Elite Eight game on Sunday features 1 seed Houston, 2 seed Tennessee. Pretty common theme here. Pretty chalky Elite Eight, 3-1s and 2s, and then 1-1-3 in the West. Tennessee, of course, took care of business last night against Kentucky, taking them down by 13. Houston kind of labored their way to a win. I mean, they didn't make shots. At times it seemed like they wanted to lose the way they were throwing the ball around, but ultimately, they were up 10 with under 8 minutes left, and then gave the game away. And then whoever it was that drew up the play, I don't know if it was Kelvin Sampson or who it was on his staff, but got a great out of bounds play to get the game winning bucket. That was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, by the sounds of it sounded like Sampson drew it up. I mean, in the post game interview, he said that was like the third read in the play. So I guess it was him that drew it up. It didn't sound like he was giving anybody else any credit for drawing it up. So I guess I'll assume it was him. But yeah. I think we're going to see a lot of similar things in this game as well. Just like shot making wise, I don't think we're going to see the prettiest game, obviously. These teams are very similar in style. I mean, they both play at a super slow tempo. A lot of that is because they just, on the defensive end, it takes teams so long to, get into their sets, and they're just always grinding the clock down to like 5 seconds or less on the clock. So, I mean, these teams are top 3 in adjusted defense in the country, top 5 in effective field goal percentage defense, and top 25 in 2-point defense. There's just a ton of similarities. These are two of the most physical teams in the entire country. I mean, it might look like we're playing a different sport out there at times with how physical these teams are. I mean, they might need to throw some football pads on and a helmet in this game. Just, it's going to get extremely physical. And I wouldn't be surprised if 4 or 5 guys fouled out in regulation. Both teams love to get on the offensive glass. That obviously is going to create a more physical game here. The difference in this game could lie in the turnover battle, with Houston being top 25 in both turnover rate offense and defense. Tennessee outside the top 100 in both. I don't really trust a ton of handlers on that team outside of Ziegler, and Ziegler's like, he's a little bit not great with the ball at times. He's a little bit loose with it, makes some interesting passes at times. So I think the pressure of Houston could ultimately be the difference in this game. And then Houston may just make a couple more shots from the outside. I mean, it's going to be really tough for Houston to score on the interior. So I think they're going to be a little bit 3-point reliant here, and it's just a matter of them knocking them down. Obviously, Tennessee is a great 3-point defense, but they do allow a ton of threes. So if Houston could get hot, I think there is a chance they could potentially run away with this game. But I don't really have a strong opinion on who I actually think is going to win this game. It's just, I mean, there's going to be a ton of 50-50 balls. I think there's going to be a ton of variance in that regard. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee was able to win this game. I'm just going to trust the more like sure-handed Houston team and trust their perimeter shot making late in games.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're definitely going to be able to get their threes up in this game. They were talking about it on the Tennessee game last night that Tennessee had only allowed 50% from the field and 50% from 3, I think, twice all year. And both of those games came against Kentucky in the regular season. So 2 games out of how many have they played? 37, right? They've allowed that. But now, they're playing a team in Houston that is the number 1 3-point shooting team in the country in terms of percentage. Obviously, their 3-point rate is 291st, but as you said, they're probably going to have to take some more of them tomorrow because they're going to struggle on the interior, right? I mean, Tennessee's 25th in 2-point defense, and Houston actually doesn't shoot it very well inside the arc. They just get it up on the glass and go get it. They're 279th in 2-point percentage shooting. And
that matches the eye test too.
Yeah, and
just by watching
Houston,
them shoot inside the arc.
And Houston also doesn't get to the line a ton, and Tennessee actually doesn't foul much. So I think it's going to have to be like an LJ Cryer, Sharp, and Uzan game. Um, you know, Tennessee, like I said, they're 334th in 3-point rate defense. So the opportunities should be there. It's just a matter of can Houston knock them down at a higher clip than they did last night? It's like Sharp struggled last night. I mean, he took some pretty ill-advised shots, I thought, like just quick trigger, way behind the arc, or like heavily contested 2-point shots. And like if you're taking those kind of shots against Tennessee, like that's where you're asking to lose.
For sure. Yeah, I just ultimately think Houston's going to be able to get more shots off and win the shot volume battle in this game. It's just, and for Tennessee's offense, it's just they're a little bit 3-point not reliant, but they will take their share of threes, and that's kind of the way you're going to beat this Houston defense. If I don't think Chaz Lanier is going to get left open by any means, but I do think he'll have a few opportunities to knock down some shots off of like weak side catch and shoot situations. And the Tennessee offense is a little bit better than I've given it credit for all year. They have a little more creation with, more gainy minutes. Milicic has been solid. Nobody really talks about him all that much. He's been pretty rock solid at the 4 position all year, and he can knock down some shots at times. He's not an elite shooter by any means, just 32% on the year, and Gainey's just 30%, but they actually have some creation aspects to their game. So that will be big against Houston, getting into the lane and kicking out to other shooters like Lanier, who's, one of the best shooters in the entire country. So there are paths for the Tennessee offense, but I mean, realistically, the path for offense for both teams is getting on the offensive glass and scoring up second chances. I just trust Houston a little bit more, plus their turnover edge in this game.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to the broadcast last night, you'd think like Jordan Gainey was like a 45% 3-point shooter. They just every time he was open, he's like, "Oh, this guy's a shooter." I mean, like he's solid. When he's open, like you said, he's 30% on the year. It's not like, I think Kelvin Sampson's a coach that's gonna like live with that number. Obviously, not gonna leave him open, but contest it a little bit, make him shoot over you. But yeah, I think, like you said, on the offensive glass, both teams should be able to get all over the offensive glass. And I trust Houston. Obviously, like Houston's 11th in offensive rebound rate. Tennessee is 20th. Tennessee 192nd on the defensive glass. I trust Houston a bit more on the offensive glass. Like if you just watch them offensive rebound, if you didn't even watch the play and you just watch Roberts and Francis and Tugler and how they work inside, like just their ability to track the ball and go get it is super impressive. I mean, like that shot goes up and they're already like eyes on the rim, just tracking where that thing's going. And then at that point you're just kind of in jail, right? I mean, they're so good on the offensive glass.
Yeah, and the amount of times they like tap one back and then generate an open three is ridiculous. They do it like 5 or 6 times a game, and Uzan was the beneficiary of that last night. It happened. I think he got 3 of his makes off of those tap backs. So just super impressive what they do. And I think another aspect of this game is like who's the deeper team, because I do think foul trouble is actually going to play a part in this game. I know overall the teams aren't like free throw rate isn't like elite by any means, but this game's just going to be played so physical that the refs are going to play a factor here. And at that point, I don't really know whose depth I trust. I think I would trust Houston's a little bit more. The front court depth of Tennessee is not the greatest. I mean, Cade Phillips coming off the bench is solid, but he's not like a great defensive rebounder. So with his minutes, they're going to be playing a little bit smaller, and I think that's going to give Houston even more opportunities to get on the offensive glass. I think I trust the trio of Roberts, Francis, and Tugler over the trio of like Akbar, Milicic, and Phillips, and like some D-Stone Dubar minutes. I don't know how impactful he'll be in this game, but
he was all right last night.
He was. Yeah, the depth of these teams isn't like the greatest on either side, so I don't think there's like a major edge, but I would say I would call Houston the slightly deeper team, especially in the front court.
Yeah. Plus, there's also the factor that like Rick Barnes like can't get past the Elite Eight. Hasn't got past the Elite Eight since what, 04, 03 with Texas. So That's always a factor too. Maybe he gets over the hump here. I don't, similar to you. I don't really have a strong opinion. I would probably side with Houston if I had to. Um, I think it'll be, like you said, a low scoring, uh, physical game that's going to ultimately depend on like who makes more shots. And I trust those three guards, Sharp, Uzan, Cryer especially. I mean, I don't think he's going to have two bad games in a row. He was pretty terrible last night. I think he went like 2 for 13 or something. Obviously, hit a big one late uh, to put him up 5, but I think he gets it going tomorrow. I think Sharp plays a little bit better. Maybe Uzan doesn't shoot it as well, but those other two make up the slack. So I'll side with Houston to win this one. I think it's a tight game, and wouldn't really be surprised though to see either outcome.
Yeah, and to that Rick Barnes point, I mean, Kelvin Sampson gets his fair
Yeah.
share of flack too. I mean, he's made a Final Four, and he made it in 2021. He's been to back-to-back Sweet 16s now in an Elite Eight. Was in an Elite Eight in 2022 as well. Like, I just think a lot of these coaches that are consistently in the tournament and don't end up winning the championship get a lot of hate. Like a Mark Few, like he gets a ton of hate, and they just have successful years year after year. I know it's, if you don't win a championship, a lot of people think it's not a successful season, but Houston is unbelievable year in and year out. And I'll be happy for either coach that makes it. Obviously, I think both coaches really deserve to get back to the Final Four and potentially win a championship, but I will side with Houston. I just think, I think they have potential to control the shot volume battle, and I think that's ultimately going to be the difference.
Yeah, no, I agree. So we're going to side with Houston. Slight lean. Could probably see the game going either way. We're going to take Houston to move on to the Final Four next weekend.